Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of How to Feel God, How to Feel Good podcast. I'm here with my very good friend, soul sister Esvea, and we're like very excited to tap into today's topics. And why it's alive within us, which is always kind of related to the topic of how to do the inner work and how is that related with emotions, how is that related with liberation, how we can free ourselves from any conditioning, from any parts that we have been acquiring as separation from through authenticity, no, through what it's godness and goodness. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here today again.
Yes, thank you, Vale, for this introduction. So excited also to be here. Every time gets very interesting, and it's beautiful to just receive also whenever we speak is like also a conversation between each other and like with friends, and so it's really like inspiring, and we grow each time and we realize things by just vocalizing and speaking about it. So it's really nurturing. It's very like a beautiful learning process. So yes.
Thank you. Yeah, and I also really like the idea that we let it flow, and it's kind of synchronical what we're feeling and thinking, and so the structure can be it's like this Shiva structure is okay. There's a platform, there's a podcast, there's maybe like 45 minutes up to 1 hour available, but inside there's all this Shakti happening, right? This flow happening. So yes, I would like actually to start talking a little bit about that. Like, what's there's a lot of nowadays it's very like on trend to talk about like Shiva Shakti, and there's so much more information, and many people talking about Tantra in that way and about polarity. And I feel like I've been really reflecting lately in what is the truth and what it's actually the meaning behind the concept of sacred union, right? Like the union of Shiva Shakti and um, how can we get there from within, right? Like if we're talking about like we're living in a world of polarity, and you can call it the feminine, the masculine, the yin and yang, or however you want to put it, I feel it's so important to like first understand that if you want to attract something in your life, the way of doing that, it's about becoming that. It's about reaching to a frequency, a steady frequency that first you feel you have it already, right? And you're attracting not from longing, not from lacking, you're attracting from being. So we don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. So in your life, if you actually want to attract that sacred partnership, you had to really become your best partner ever, right? And like how we can get there, how we can get there as women. For example, like I feel like we both share this a lot, that we have like our feminine very developed. There's a lot of energy there, and like this is why we're doing all the things that we're doing all the time, and I deeply worship the concept of divine feminine. I feel it's my essence, and I feel it's so important to heal it, to understand it, to embody it. And it's not a but it's an end. How we can actually awake the Shiva inside of us. So we give it an structure and we give it ground and foundation. So we become more and more whole, and from that place we're magnetizing, let's say, a partnership with those characteristics as well, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very simple and at the same time complex topic because it's multi-layered. for me always. And the more I know about myself, the more I understand how deep this goes, because we are really talking about unity here. We are really talking about how to reach God, how to reach this state of no separation, reunion with the divine. And in that, like, that divine created these principles of masculine and feminine. So in that principle of unity, there is the unity of these two principles, which are also in us. So it's all, I feel this whole process is all a constant inquiry inside of who we really are, and really contemplating all the parts of us and making them dance together in a way that the soul feels so safe to now. As I am growing, and I am also now investing a lot more in my business, in giving my gifts to others, I see that my soul is like my feminine, because it's like the one that is like, oh, I want to share this, I want to do this, I feel this, oh, I want to cry now, oh, and then myself that is like directing my life, like, okay, paying the bills, paying the rent, finding a house, traveling in the world, buying a ticket, having a call, having to teach a class. That self need to be so good in holding the soul that we co-create together. Is like, because what I've learned in my training, in the society, what the society teaches us is that you have to control everything of your life, and that the soul is just, it's not important. Like, okay, your dreams, but these are just dreams. It's not possible to do that. So when you grow up believing that your dreams are just dreams and they will never come true, then you focus just on controlling, okay, having this, having that, like the material realm. So in a way, also the masculine becomes overpowers the feminine, this innocence of the soul that is also the infinite Shakti. The soul takes energy from God, so is the infinite power of creation. And now I'm seeing how these to balance these two, like my soul now is really asking to my masculine, is like, please give me more space. Is like, I cannot flourish, I cannot be myself if you keep anticipating, if you keep like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to show up in this way, I have to do this class, I have to post this thing, I have to... And the soul is like, I don't have time to just be myself if you keep controlling everything. And I'm like, wow, okay, so it's just an internal dance with faith, with like, how can I just hold this material reality, but letting this part of me lead the vision, lead the way. And the masculine is just trusting. It's just like, okay, I trust you, feminine, I trust your soul. I just build the structure so you can be seen and flourish, because your ideas are the best. Like when my soul is there putting out the thing that is coming, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It's like the masculine can never do that. I'm sorry. But like the masculine part of me will never have the same creativity and ideas that my soul is able to poof, because it's connected to God. So it's like every time these days, I'm like, wow. Okay, just slowing down my masculine, letting it do the things, but just like, so it's really a dance. It's really like an incredible dance of faith and trust. Sometimes it's a tango, sometimes it's contact improvisation, sometimes it's a kizomba, sometimes it's like, okay, just give you a massage.
I'm going from Kizomba, by the way, just now. It's funny that you mentioned.
Wow.
Wow, I totally relate with what you're saying, but I find something super interesting that honestly, I don't know what is soul and what's the difference between like your soul and your heart sometimes, or I feel like it's interesting to hear that you feel like your soul is more in the feminine, or you're identifying more the soul with that kind of energy, and then the masculine is something very different. And I feel how I see it, there's definitely polarity. Yeah, and there's definitely about holding all your parts. Yeah, just like holding all of who you are and like all the parts that constitute your being right now, in and integrating them, no? Like, but I wouldn't say that I feel, for example, my soul is like feminine. You know what I've been like feeling lately is like I have this, I will call this is the part that is more closer to God. It's kind of next to God, and it's very neutral, doesn't have any gender, doesn't have any like really personality. It's just, it's like this witness self. I have this witness self that I know is like really being like next to God as a friend almost. It's kind of a very friendly relationship. If I put it like in an image, and if we're thinking of like God from whatever culture we're coming from, I was raised Catholic, so we tend to think that God is somewhere in the sky, right? And it's kind of the Father God, which is also a narrative, no? But I feel like to take ownership of that narrative, and I do visualize, of course, there's like many ways of visualizing God, and you have to take the one that it's helping you in your path right now. And I do feel I'm like, because I'm healing a lot like the relationship with the masculine, I'm healing a lot like the relationship with my father, and like the archetypical father. I feel like for me it's useful to think of God as like somewhere in the sky and kind of in a masculine way. Okay, so if I'm thinking in that way, I feel I am a witness of whatever my physical body it's doing kind of on earth. And this, you can call it like my higher self. I don't know if they will be like my soul or not, but definitely it's like a higher self kind of witnessing everything here. And whenever I need to tap into that being or that presence, I feel everything is absolutely fine in any way, whatever it's happening here in my life, because it's a place of complete acceptance and emotional neutrality. Also, it's a place where you feel peace, and as much as it's out there, it's also like within, it's like the peace within. So in that way, I also feel it's very feminine. It's like it's both, right? It's like really expansive. It's like you're claiming it and like getting it from out there, and then you're like really going within and feeling it inside your body, inside your heart, even inside your yoni, like you're feeling this peace inside. So it's both, it's feminine and masculine. And I will say archetypically is related with Shiva. It's the archetype of Shiva. I think like it's a season of like really getting closer to Shiva and what's actually the true energy behind it. And so I feel like the concept of like Shiva Shakti and like divine union, it's conceptually nurturing, right? Yeah, yeah. And I Shakti will be like, yeah, it's like it's the love behind, it's like it's the playfulness, and is the willingness also of like playing the game with all that involves, no, like with all your physical reactions, with all your emotional reactions, also like with the movements of your mind. It's just like, as you said, like it's this dance, um and it's also like a play, a game made from love. Even sometimes it's really distorted, but at the end of the day, we're living this life that we take so seriously, which is just like to get to understand what's the primal force behind it, which is like, yes, this is a matrix like made out of love for us to forget God, and then to get to remember God again. Right?
The experiment of the free will. Yeah, to be separate from God until we decide that we don't want to be separate anymore from God. Yeah, I feel sometimes, what happens also in different cultures and in different just way to just see reality. We use all these words that get a bit then that doesn't really allow us to really grasp, because sometimes we say soul, we say Shakti, we say Shiva, we say, and each one of us have different interpretations of that word. So whenever you say that word, someone understands something, but is filtered through their reality and through their understanding of that. So that's why these concepts are sometimes really hard to talk about, because we all come from different backgrounds. And whenever I say Shakti and someone is coming from Christianity, say, oh, she is with Hindus, goddess, and she is demonic. I have been talking with some Christians lately because I am learning from a lot now from the history and the life of Jesus. And I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's like we are all talking about the same thing. We
Mm.
are just finding different ways to express it, because at the end, language can reach to a certain point. How do you explain love? Like, how do you explain the dance of our parts inside, and the unity and the reunion of you and your own? Like, what is this? It's like coming home to yourself, to your own love, and learning to love all of you, and living a life that makes sense, giving your gifts, being good with yourself, having nice relationships, giving back to the earth, giving back to the community. And it's like basically going back to simplicity
Mm.
through the complexity that we have created to understand this reality, because we have dissociated and separated so much from God, from unity, from love, that now to go back, we have to kind of go through all the ways in which we have created separation. So
Mm.
these all differences, also religions, all these ways to think different, and like, no, I'm right, no, Buddha is right, no, Jesus is right, no. And then we are still separate. And sometimes I'm like, guys, it's not about who is right, it's about going towards the same thing. We are just the same thing, we are talking about the same thing. And so at
Mm.
the end, true unity is that, right? And I feel like very resonant now with these teachings of Jesus, because he didn't come here to bring a religion, to bring a church, to bring Catholicism, to colonize humanity. It was just the embodiment of this communion, of this unity. And he just transcended basically he put together all the teachings of all the masters, and he sacrificed himself for the love of people. So it's like, okay, like, this is a good human being, that's it, it's like a good human being. So it's at the end so simple, but
Mm.
we have like drift away so much from that, that now is like sometimes when my mom, because my mom is like a bit old school, so for her God is simple. Like, okay, you just love your friends, you just do your things, you just have a family, and you create a child, and then, and she's right. But our generation went very, very far from God, and now we have to remember simple things. So my mom is like, Zia, but are you really sure that this is what we need? And I'm like, yes, because now we are like people are believing that they are cats, that they can marry anyone, that like this all transgender thing, and you can change your gender and become whatever you want. This is drifting away from nature, from God. And I know people want to be free, and people are here to say, but this rebellion spirit is the one that take us away from God. And this is what we are basically here to remind to humanity and to people and to ourselves. Because when we drift so far away from God, then is what happens. Then the free will takes a power, and then you feel that you have the power to be whoever you are, but it's not that. So it's getting really messy, and we just have to go back to this truth that is simple. You just have to remember God in your heart.
Mm.
Wow.
I mean, I agree with the main premise that it's about like remembering God, but I do feel like we don't know the path of anybody actually to reach there. And somehow we are all doing it, whether we know it or not. And yeah, honestly, I have few transgender people around in my circles, and I believe that they are like the most spiritual people ever also. At least the ones in my circle. I cannot speak for transgenders in general, and I never got the experience of not feeling I'm in the right body that I wanted to express another identity, right? Like I always feel very identified with being a woman. So I have no idea of how that would feel for another person. But if that's happening in someone's reality, I have the complete certitude that is actually part of what they need to live in whatever soul journey they are.
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's the complexity of living in a world with so much different frequencies and different people, and like honestly, I'm like more and more detached from the concepts that this is good and this is bad, like from actually a witness perspective. If God is allowing absolutely everything to happen, it's because everything is actually neutral. Even the
Mm,
things feeling like it's both realities at the same time. Like of course I'm not saying that it's not wrong to kill people, it's not wrong to like in any way to violate human rights. Like of course it's like deeply wrong and this needs to be corrected, right?
yeah.
And this is in the human level, and in a more wider level, in the more like a spiritual level, or I don't know how even to put it, I have tapped into the place of like observing that very deep inside, like everything is absolutely neutral anyway. Like
Yeah.
everything is part of the game anyway. And yeah, we forget that we have power over the script that we are creating, that we came actually, and I feel like these are the times that we're living. Like we actually have to remember that we are not slaves of anything. Like it's about going out of the victimhood mentality while you are in a context that you can, while you're not being starved of that, like while you're not actually, wherein you're in the privilege of actually even having the space and time, and your survival is already done, so we can actually be having this conversation, right? Because that's not also the reality of like many people in the planet right now. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's about using your privilege to share whatever you have to share. And yeah, I feel like more and more humble of like not judging anybody, because you also don't know what's like behind what someone is living. Even if what someone is living can be like a very hurtful behavior to someone else, it's
Yes. Yes.
about being curious, about like asking the questions, right? Asking the questions instead of assuming that we know better. Sometimes we actually don't know better. So
Yeah,
I feel
that's true. Absolutely.
it's the path of just like compassion, like deeply compassion. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's like it's more like we cannot just see something from just one perspective, because there's so many perspective, and we are all here having this experience from our own perspective. So it's kind of impossible to see the whole without having your own perception of it, because we have a layer which is our own experience of this reality. So it's just interesting to observe. Yeah, what I think I was trying to say is this like this aspect of the reason why sometimes we want to change ourselves, and sometimes we want that because there's self-hatred inside. So whenever there's an implantation of unworthiness and not enoughness, or making you doubt your nature, then you start to feel that how you are is wrong. And then you start to want to be something else. And this can be, I want to be more thin. And then you become anorexic, like it happened to me. Or you want to be more strong because everyone thinks that being a big man is cool. So I want to be that, but it's not coming from I love myself so much that I take care of my body and I go to the gym to train because it's good for me. No, it's coming from I hate myself so much and I am so ashamed of who I am because the system is like this virus of the mind of making you feel or constantly not enough, will make you want to be something else, but from self-hatred. And that is the virus that sometimes I see, and people that are just confused, and now they see, oh, I can be anything that I want. I can become, I am born like a woman, but as I can be also whatever I want, I can be other things. And I see that going deeper into this and going deeper into what I see in the world sometimes, I see this separation from the heart and the humility of understanding how God created us and how beautiful it is to be just who you are and who God made you to be in this life, in this way. And I mean, it's not like saying everything is like this, but I feel like the whole work of praying with yourself and going back to this root is really reclaiming this identity, this acceptance of who we are. And yeah, like as this new wave of freedom, I feel can be very dangerous for people that are like implanted this doubt, and the doubt making you question your own nature is how the devil, let's say, whatever we call it now, these satanic words are very famous around the world, is working, because it's like, oh, are you really sure you are a woman? And I'm like, well, I have a vagina, but if you tell me that maybe I'm not a woman and I am very wounded inside, and there is a wound of unworthiness and not enoughness, and no one loves me and I'm not enough, maybe if you tell me that being a man is more cool, I can become a man. Why not? Everything is possible now. So you see how back we go and how deep the wound is, and I feel like simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, as always. So we are touching topics that are, again, very delicate. I am not saying this is for everyone. And I also have transgender friends that are very, grounded in what they are. And but yeah, it's like, it's because it's very deep. It's a very deep wound. And we have to just be very careful about this and about how the manipulation of the mind is working now in the planet, because we are full power in a spiritual war where the mind and the soul is what is being harvested from other forces that are not in communion with God, with love, that don't want love. So it's like a delicate ocean to navigate for me in the moment. The more I see, the more I'm like, wow, okay. That's why for example, for me, I had all these eating disorders because I didn't love myself. And all these stimulation, all these doubts outside of me were making me feel that being something else would make me feel more happy. And we need to come back to that. Otherwise, there will always be something outside that will make you feel more happy, of course. Another woman, another boyfriend, more money, more things, something outside, another gender, another. It will never end. It will never end. It's like the next, but it's never outside. So it's like the roots of this are really, really deep in the identity of who we are in God, I feel.
Okay, so honestly, I don't know if it's really comparable. For example, the eating disorder topic with the transgender topic. I feel this is like like we should make like a completely podcast about that
Yeah.
maybe. Or yeah, there's a, and we are also, I'm not considering at all any expert on the topic, but I feel, because I'm not an expert on the topic, I actually feel really humble about it, because I have, as I said, like I never had in my life the experience of being, for example, confused about my gender. And I can only imagine how confusing can be for, and how painful it can be for a person that actually feels he or she was born in a different body. And many times it's actually not conditioning from I want to be someone else, or sometimes, and actually we have no idea, sometimes it can be even something from past life. Sometimes
Absolutely.
it can be like your soul, it might be like in a contract or stuck in something from past life. If you even believe in past life, maybe it can come from a trauma from like deeper childhood, or it can also come, and I'm like super open for that, not everything has to come also from wound. Like it can come genuinely from the freedom and the experience of playing with your identity, because
Absolutely.
identity is also is something that it's dynamic, no? Like yeah, like so I tell you something, like I was in maybe 3 weeks ago, I went into a very beautiful psychedelic trip, like in nature, with a non-binary friend. We went into a very nice beach and we took mushrooms. And I had like one of the best, very deep and profound experiences of my life, because it was the most fun thing to do, to be able to play with different characters. And at the same time, it was the most spiritual thing to do ever. Like when you're actually in this space of detaching yourself from the concept of who you are and playing with different identities. And I feel like I kind of unfold this experience because I was sharing with them now, with this non-binary friend, um, that I could tap into the playfulness, into the freedom of not having to be constricted to whatever you have defined yourself that you have been. Like it's the attitude that also says like I am not the accumulation of my experiences. I am not the name that it was given to me. I am not the country I was born in. I am not even the personality I have developed, because this is also something that it's been a construct coming from my experiences, right? I am like so much deeper than that, and I am a player. I'm like a someone playing a game, and I can change at any time I fucking want. And the freedom of that, I
Yeah.
feel I am actually really proud of, like, transgender community, for example, or like people that dare to go there into these places. And it can be like super liberating. And yeah, it doesn't have to, just my point is like it doesn't have to all the time coming from like something painful, or like a wound. It can come also from a reclamation. And that's
Yes.
deeply empowering, actually.
Yes. Is absolutely, yeah. And also because the structure of how the world is moving on is really like entrapment. So I feel like this way to find freedom is actually really like empowering. So it's just, I feel like this, our souls are finding their own way to reclaim that power. And as we all have different characteristics and gifts from God, we venture through different paths. and there's no one right path or wrong. Like, who am I to say that this is that and this is not? um, I'm feeling like just seeing that sometimes this is where it comes from, and yeah, it's like the part of the healing journey. Sometimes we just have to go through that to then realize something else. It's like the path of realization, and this aspect of freedom sometimes is really what we need to remember who we are. It's like absolute freedom. I can be anything that I want, but then what do I choose to be, and what am I really, so it's really like it is always this dance between polarities. In this body you can be everything, and then there's a part of you that is more like, okay, what is the soul embodied in this body, this lifetime? So yeah, it's really like yeah, it's super, so many layers of this. Is like crazy. I love it.
Truncated because we actually did not come with a map. We came with like a kind of, I believe that. I don't even know if it's true. This is what I believe. But I feel like we came with like some sort of soul contracts and a little bit of a map and like
Yeah.
a dream, a hope. And we came, if you feel this call, no, you came as a missionary of God somehow, but knowing that, well, where you're here, everything can change. And then you also have the freedom of changing at any moment your path, what you're gonna dedicate yourself with, like who are you gonna marry or not. Like nothing is really rigid, and that what makes everything like super dynamic. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's about knowing yourself enough to understand what is the decision that it's more convenient for you right here and right now, and detach absolutely from the outcomes. No, so yes, like this is the balance of it. And like the paradox of it is that, I don't know, like I have this, for example, this vision of who I want to become and how I want like my life to look like in 5 years, in 10 years, at the end of my life, right? Like we have this vision, and I have no idea if this is actually what it's gonna end up happening or not. I have no idea if I'm actually in power of doing that. I wanna believe I am, but at the same time, it's the humility of knowing that you have you don't know shit basically. And like how come you can actually only like surrender to what it's been given to you, because it's the gap between what you want and what you need. And actually God is sending you all the time what you need at this
Yeah.
particular moment. If you're not manifesting this thing that you said you wanted, and or like you're dreaming of, is because you're not in the space to receive it. So it's about like expanding our capacity through identity, through experience, through the confidence of, by becoming, to be able to receive it. So
Mm.
I feel like coming back to the original, the initiation of this conversation, which is about like, for example, receiving for me is like, it will be like a feminine principle, right? Or like in the more like traditional sense, it's like who are the receivers is like the feminine energy that's receiving. So I feel like there's a lot of work to do in being able to, yeah, just like the different layers that you are receiving life. Like how are you receiving the experiences in your life? Are you receiving them with resistance? Are you receiving them with acceptance? Are you receiving the messages that are coming to you to make decisions, like the guidance of God? Are you asking for it and are you receiving it? And
Mm.
and are you receiving yourself fully also? Because self-love is not, it can also be like all these things that we do to nourish ourselves, right? Like it can be like all the self-care, like in the most material way. But like at the end of the day, like self-love is just like completely being in full acceptance of all your parts, even the parts that you don't like about yourself, even the parts that you are calling them like ego, they are coming from wound or ego or whatever. True self-love is being able to hold yourself in this compassion, and deciding like you can also like put a boundary inside yourself, to the parts that you don't like them to show up. But how you do heal them, you need to absolutely embrace them. And I feel that's actually divine union somehow. Like God is accepting absolutely everything that we are. We are perfect as we are. And yet the paradox is that we're evolving and perfecting each other, like as we move forward. So
Wow.
we're just living some paradox, basically.
Yes.
No? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. Yeah, yeah, today I was contemplating this aspect of like we are just born, and then we spend some time on earth, and then we die, and then that's it. And then it's like, oh wow, it's like it's actually like the amount of time of a lifetime of a human in this great scale of things is like like a, and so like taking everything into perspective, I'm like, wow, just go for it. Like you're here to experience the things that like this reunion with God is your soul craving to know itself fully, so reuniting with this. And this is divine union, I feel inside. It's like never stop this desire, because that the desire to know that the soul, this all, and then we call it divine union, that we call it many things, the soul, the shakti, whatever, but it's just that, and it's like it's so beautiful, and it's what keeps us alive. And then we die, and then who knows? And then it's like we have just little perspective on everything. And God created our soul, the earth, the seasons, our eyes, our everything. And I'm like, wow, God is a genius. Like God created all our souls. Like how many billion, thousand billion souls are in the planet? Like, and is creating the webs and the destiny and the evolution. And it's like, wow, the more I contemplate God's creation, the more I'm like, okay. It's just is so beautiful. It's so humbling.
Yeah. I like this concept of God, that not even God is in control of its creation. It's like when you're creating a piece of art and you're embedded in a process, you're like channeling something.
Yes.
So control of it. So we don't live in a world that there's like this God like moving pieces of the puzzle. No, like it's that maybe the Big Bang created like a potential of something, but like the entire unfolding of that, nobody knows. And what is God at the end? I feel like God, my concept of God is like the absolute perfect interrelation between all the elements of the universe.
Yeah.
It's like God is it's all the relationships, God is relationships in like so many levels, right?
The
Like
web is the web is like
web.
yeah is yeah, but it's true. It's like it's knowing itself through the web, through how the web interacts with itself. Otherwise, wouldn't want to know itself. So it's knowing itself through how we behave is magic. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like to kind of maybe to wrap up a little bit, I feel like I have like a metaphor somehow, or like an image talking about like God, and talking about um, how we initiated also this conversation, is that I feel okay. So this quote of like, there's not a problem that you can solve. You cannot ever solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that you created it, right?
Yes.
So that's exactly the image of like, you're kind of, imagine it if you're like kind of trapped in a labyrinth. You're trapped in a situation, you're trapped in a drama, and there's a labyrinth here, so you're actually trying to get out of the labyrinth. You're never gonna get out of the labyrinth. You're gonna go into the next labyrinth and the next thing and the next thing, because the only thing that's gonna free you from the labyrinth is actually seeing yourself in perspective and understanding from another point of view that you are in a labyrinth. So at the end, this is God's consciousness, it's the witness of what you have been creating. When you are detaching yourself and when you're perceiving it in this way, is that you are free from whatever it's been causing you suffering. Yes. Right? So I think like the wisest, not even the wisest, but like the higher perspective that we can have for healing is really changing our perspective and like opening up our perception. It's a matter of perception. Like we are creating our lives where we put the focus on. And yeah, like it's detaching yourself from who you think you are and maybe seeing yourself in a different lens. And when we're doing that, it's like almost like I feel it's my higher self, which, you know what, like can it be like my guardian angel or like the perspective of something above that it's see me with so much compassion, like, oh, she's trapped in this story, in this suffering, but knowing that I am here observing and that you are not this little thing, right? So you are also not separate from this higher perspective. You are this perspective. This is where the frequency of God lives, right? So
yeah, we can always tap into that. It's accessible. We just have to learn how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you come back and you do what you need to do in the human level, like knowing that, like knowing that
you travel
to pay your rent, you have to pay your bills, you have to show up for your relationships, you have to whatever you need to do in the human level, but it's temporary. It's just temporary. So rather, like, instead of creating more when we can, no, rather than creating more drama and more suffering, let's just try to enjoy and have fun with the limited time that we have, because it's gonna end, and sooner than later. We don't fucking know, and that's the beauty of it. It's like a crystallization of a second, of a moment in the story of the universe, right? So we cannot make it about, I mean, we can, we're in our free will to do it, but I wouldn't want to do it about being like not really remembering that this is a game. Like, what a waste of time, what a waste of that experience if you are not able to live in a way that you remember all the time that this is a game and you're not taking yourself so seriously at the end.
Yes, so important. Yes. Yeah, I like this to end today, because it's like over seriousness is very harmful for us, because we forget that playfulness is how this universe is made, and play is the way in which we grow and we expand. So yeah, wow. Thank you for today's conversation. Wow, it was like very true. As always, we travel so many dimensions. We never know what happens.
Yeah, definitely. I feel it was many topics at the same time, but at the end it's like about unity with God always. Nice about sacred. Oh, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so
much.
Thank you, and thank you for everyone who is here listening. Hope this was nourishing. Let us know if you have anything to share in the comments or in private messages. We are here, and